The gentleman from Mississippi, Mr. Ezell, former sheriff, for 5 minutes of.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's an honor to be here this week, especially serving in the House on National Police Week, acknowledging the hard work of local law enforcement and federal partners that we work with. Yesterday, I was proud the House unanimously passed my resolution, which expresses congressional support for local law enforcement and condemns the call to defund the police. This is particularly important and I believe relates to the conversation today as the Biden administration refuses to enforce laws at our border that would make law enforcement officer jobs easier. Sheriff Chapman, it's great to see another sheriff in the room today and glad to see all of you here with us. I know you glad to be here. Your testimony about DHS silence when you were seeking answers about the resettling of 1,000 refugees in your community is disturbing. As a former sheriff, I know how important information sharing is, and I would expect DHS to fully cooperate with local law enforcement. Clearly, that's not happening. I'm sure you brought your concerns regarding intel sharing to DHS, and tell us what the response was.
The first response was, okay, we understand your concerns. We'll get back to you. We'll work this out. About 2 weeks later, still nothing had been done, and it was clear that the only way that we were going to solve this issue with the people coming in and getting the community notified, there was no transparency in this with regards to anything that was occurring with that, would be for us to do it ourselves. So I called a stakeholders meeting myself. I thought I'd have about 12 people that would show up. I ended up having probably close to 70 that showed up. We went around the room, everybody from faith-based leaders to hospital members to fire and rescue to many three-letter agencies around the Beltway here, and we were able to put together a plan and do it, and then have a subsequent community meeting so that the citizens would know what to expect, what was coming in. So, in other words, everything that was handled that needed to be done was done at the local level with very little assistance until we had that community panel where they all came in, and then were able to, after we had already organized where we needed to go with that community panel, to then relay what was going to happen and how we were going to handle it. Fortunately, because we did that at the local level, we didn't have any issues of concern.
Very good. Has anything improved since you had that community meeting with DHS?
The process went well. Yeah. We have very little contact with DHS, have a lot of contact with our other federal partners, but we do not have very much contact with members of DHS.
As long as I'm here, I will continue to work with the committee to find ways to instruct DHS to cooperate with local law enforcement officers. We all know the importance of information sharing. You also testified that even though Loudoun County is not a border county, you face many of the same issues as these border counties do. Can you elaborate and tell us how this open border policy is affecting your county, and even if you have some knowledge about some other counties around your area?
I would say the most critical part of that is the fentanyl that's coming in. And I just saw recent stats. I think there was 115 million pills that were seized in 2023. There was up 71 million from the year before. Fentanyl deaths are impacting everybody throughout the country. We've seen, when I testified before a subcommittee a few weeks ago, I talked about the 9 fentanyl overdoses that we had from one particular high school, members of one particular high school in one area within about a 3-week period. So we are seeing issues of concern, and we're seeing the fentanyl use by younger people. It's really concerning me that it's now going down to the teenage level, where before that we saw it between 25 and 35 years old. Now, then it was 20 to 25, now it's 15 to 20, 25, whatever. And it really does concern me that the age is dropping, and I would say that's the biggest impact that we're seeing from the open border policies and the constant influx of drugs that are permeating throughout the United States.
Can you walk us through some of the challenges that's going on with local law enforcement as a part of this border mess that we have? And has this hurt your department's ability to recruit?
I think we've actually done pretty good recruiting because we answer directly to the citizens that we serve. I think there's a lot of people that like that, being I'm an elected official rather than an appointed official. So we're in a position where we answer directly to them and aren't taking our direction from necessarily people that have other agendas that might want to try to impose that on us as law enforcement leaders. So our ability to recruit's actually gone pretty good. We have about a 6% attrition rate, most of which are retirements. Our recruitment is up. We hired, I think, went through 100 people last year, close to that. So we're doing pretty good in the scope of things in comparison to surrounding areas. So I don't really have any personal complaints, but I do know that that's a problem that's impacting many of our law enforcement agencies in the area.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back. And thank you all again for being here today.